Goodnight, Sweetheart captivated audiences with its unique blend of humor, romance, and the surprising time travel adventures of Gary Sparrow. But what happened to the stars who brought this beloved series to life as fate led them through heartbreaking tragedies and unexpected deaths? Let's take an emotional look back at the journeys of these legendary actors, artists who left an indelible mark on the hearts of fans. David Riyle as Eric Elwood. David John Riyle was born on January 5, 1935, in Shoreham-by-Sea, West Sussex, and became one of the most respected faces in British theatre and television. When he was 58 years old, he made a lasting impression on viewers as Eric Elwood in Goodnight, Sweetheart, the landlord of the Royal Oak pub, Phoebe's strict father, and a frequent skeptic of Gary Sparrow. His performance gave depth to an otherwise ordinary character and helped elevate the charm of the series. Beneath the stage lights and the glow of the screen, David Riyle hid the storms of his personal life. He was married 3 times, to Gillian Edison, Kathy Buchwald, and Penny England, and each relationship endured its share of hardship. Though many considered him an artist who lived for his craft, that same devotion often pushed the people he loved most to the sidelines. His first marriage to Gillian lasted 20 years, but eventually ended under the strain of his grueling schedule at the National Theatre. Long nights spent rehearsing Coriolanus, or The Royal Hunt of the Sun, drained not only his energy but also precious time with his family. When Riyle married Kathy Buchwald, there was hope for lasting happiness, but emotional and physical distance once again created a divide. During this period, he appeared in The Singing Detective, a critically acclaimed production that subtly echoed his own inner struggles. The pressure to continually prove himself in a career that often typecast him into supporting roles weighed heavily on him. This tension not only fractured his second marriage but also led to several bouts of mental exhaustion. His final marriage to Penny England came during the twilight years of his life, as his health began to decline after decades of tireless work on stage and screen. While playing Elphias Doge in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Part 1, Riyle battled fatigue and the signs of aging in silence, determined to complete every scene with dignity. Though the specifics of his illness were never publicly revealed, it was widely believed that the relentless pace of his work contributed significantly to his physical decline, often forcing him to set aside personal dreams and relationships. On December 25, 2014, David Riyle passed away in London at the age of 79. His death on Christmas Day made the loss feel even more poignant for his loved ones and admirers. He left behind an estimated fortune of $3 million, earned over more than 50 years of dedication to the performing arts, with unforgettable contributions to both stage and screen. Ronnie Stevens as Mr. Wicks. Ronald George Stevens, better known as Ronnie Stevens, was born on September 2, 1925, in Peckham, London. When he was 70 years old, he brought sharp wit and charm to the role of Mr. Wicks in Goodnight, Sweetheart, a grumpy yet amusing pub owner who appeared in the early episodes and added a distinct flavor to the show's tone. Behind the scenes, Stevens's life was filled with private sorrow and quiet resilience. One of the greatest tragedies he faced was the loss of his eldest son in 1990 to cystic fibrosis. It was a heartbreak that left a deep scar, one he rarely spoke of in public. Despite a busy schedule that included stage roles and appearances in productions like Brassed Off and The Parent Trap, Stevens carried a lingering emptiness that never truly faded. His marriage to Anne Bristow lasted nearly 50 years, and was a pillar of strength through the ups and downs of his artistic career. However, that stability was shaken when Anne passed away in early 2006, just months before Stevens himself. Her death left him feeling increasingly isolated, especially as his health began to decline. In his final years, age-related ailments forced him to reduce his workload, though his passion for the stage and screen remained. Beyond his personal losses, Stevens also carried emotional scars from his time serving in World War II when he fought with the Royal Air Force and the Royal Engineers. Those wartime experiences left a lasting melancholy in his soul, something his friends and colleagues could sense behind the gentle humor he brought to every role. Ronnie Stevens died quietly on November 11, 2006, at Denville Hall in London at the age of 81. He left behind an estimated $2 million, built over half a century of dedication to the arts, with memorable performances in Carry On, Goodnight, Sweetheart, and iconic radio shows that defined an era. Jlo Edwards as Mrs. Ellis. Jlo Angela Doris Edwards was born on September 23, 1942, in Freetown, Sierra Leone. When she was 51 years old, she appeared in Goodnight, Sweetheart as Mrs. Ellis, a memorable supporting character who often featured in bustling community scenes or at the Royal Oak pub, adding a special flavor to the 1940s setting. Although Jlo Edwards' life was filled with achievements, it was also marked by countless challenges that not everyone could see. When she first arrived in Britain in the late 1950s, she had to face the harsh racial discrimination that plagued the entertainment industry at the time. Despite becoming the first black woman to study at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama and appearing on Dixon of Dock Green in 1972, she was repeatedly turned down for roles because of her skin color. Failed auditions and doors slammed shut in her face often made her consider giving up acting, but her passion for the craft kept her going. Jlo's marriage to Edmund Clottey during the 1970s was seen as a strong anchor amid life's storms. They had 3 children together, but the greatest challenges she faced didn't come only from her career. They also came from within her home. With Edmund often away for work, the burden of raising their 2 sons and 1 daughter largely fell on her shoulders. In a 2002 interview, she described the struggle of balancing motherhood with her acting career as an endless battle that gradually took a toll on her health. Behind the smile and the strong voice lay long nights of fatigue brought on by illness. Jlo fought silently against breast cancer and later kidney disease, conditions that slowly wore down the petite but fiercely determined woman. During this time, she still appeared in productions like Beautiful Thing, 1996, and The Bill, driven by an unbreakable will to work. Her dedication to her craft, even as her health failed, earned the admiration of colleagues and fans alike. Jlo Edwards passed away on July 2, 2004 in London at the age of 61. She died after a long battle with illness, leaving behind a legacy of rich, meaningful roles and a shining example of resilience. At the time of her passing, her estate was estimated at around $700,000, the hard-won result of decades devoted to stage, television, and film in a landscape filled with barriers for people of color in Britain. Nicholas Lindhurst as Gary Sparrow. Nicholas Simon Lindhurst was born on April 20, 1961, in Gosport, Hampshire. When he was 32 years old, he captured audiences' hearts as Gary Sparrow in Goodnight, Sweetheart, a TV repairman who accidentally becomes a time traveler between modern-day London and the 1940s. The role not only helped Lindhurst break free from the shadow of Rodney Trotter in Only Fools and Horses, but also showcased his versatility as an actor, earning him 2 prestigious national television awards. But behind the spotlight were years when Nicholas wrestled with silent pressures and inner tension. After the immense success of Only Fools and Horses, he often felt uneasy, trapped by the iconic image of Rodney, a role so beloved that it made it hard for audiences to accept him in anything else. While Goodnight, Sweetheart helped reaffirm his talent, the constant comparisons from the public left Nicholas feeling isolated within his own career. In 1999, Nicholas married Lucy Jane Smith, a former ballet dancer. Their marriage, seemingly perfect, was shattered by unimaginable tragedy in 2020 when their only son, Archie, died suddenly in his sleep at age 19 from a brain hemorrhage caused by acute leukemia. The loss was devastating, nearly breaking Nicholas. He withdrew from most artistic work, turned down public appearances, and devoted his time to supporting Lucy through a grief too deep for words. Nicholas's career, once at its peak with shows like New Tricks between 2013 and 2015, gradually quieted after this family heartbreak. He declined many opportunities to return, despite receiving attractive offers. It wasn't until 2023 that Nicholas accepted a role in Frasier as Professor Alan Cornwall, a cautious return, not for fame, but as a step toward finding himself again after such loss. By 2025, when he was 64 years old, Nicholas Lindhurst lived quietly with Lucy in West Sussex. His net worth was estimated at around $7 million, built from years of dedicated work on Only Fools and Horses, Goodnight, Sweetheart, New Tricks, and, in part, his return in Frasier. Victor Maguire as Ron Wheatcroft. Victor Maguire was born on March 17, 1964, in Liverpool, England. When he was 29 years old, he became etched in viewers' memories as Ron Wheatcroft in Goodnight, Sweetheart, Gary Sparrow's loyal best friend, and the only person who knew his time-traveling secret. With his natural, charming performance, Victor made Ron a character full of humor and warmth, adding to the special appeal of the series. Before that, Victor was widely known for his role as Jack Boswell in Bread, a witty, street-smart young man navigating working-class life in Liverpool. That role brought him fame across millions of British households. But the very success of Bread became a challenge, as Victor found himself typecast in comic roles, making it difficult to land dramatic or edgier parts on the big screen. Victor also appeared in the hit film Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels as Gary, a bumbling thief who added to the film's chaotic humor. Even in a minor role, he once again showed his knack for standing out in brief scenes. Yet the tough entertainment industry didn't always welcome actors so closely associated with humor, and Victor had to work hard to find fresh, challenging roles. In later years, Victor continued to contribute steadily through projects like Peterloo and various television shows and commercials with admirable perseverance. He didn't chase loud fame, choosing instead a simple life focused on his craft with sincerity. By 2025, when he was 61 years old, Victor Maguire had an estimated net worth of around $3 million, a fitting reward for years of hard work in Bread, Goodnight, Sweetheart, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and many other memorable supporting roles. Christopher Ettridge as Reg Deadman. Christopher Ettridge was born on February 21, 1948, in Isleworth, London. When he was 45 years old, he won the hearts of audiences as Reg Deadman in Goodnight, Sweetheart, a bumbling but kind-hearted policeman of the 1940s, a loyal friend to Phoebe, and one of the show's charming sources of comic relief. This role brought him closer to the public, but also became the biggest shadow he had to overcome in his acting career. After the success of Goodnight, Sweetheart, Christopher often shared how difficult it was to break free from the image of the foolish policeman, which made it rare for him to be considered for serious roles. Nevertheless, he worked hard to prove his range through films like Hitler, The Rise of Evil, where he appeared in a tense historical drama about Adolf Hitler's rise. Though not a lead role, it demonstrated his determination to break typecasting and challenge the perceptions of both the public and the film industry. Christopher also appeared in Lady Macbeth, 2017, a dark, artful film praised by critics. Even in a supporting role, he left a mark thanks to his natural performance, helping paint the bleak portrait of society during that period. His television career also included appearances in EastEnders and The Bill, staples of British television, where he consistently delivered solid work, no matter how small the part. In later years, as age caught up with him, Christopher gradually shifted toward stage directing, rekindling his passion through classic works like Romeo and Juliet. Maintaining a career past 70 was no easy task, requiring constant effort in an industry that increasingly favored youth. Although there were no reports of major personal tragedies or serious accidents, the long stretches of fewer opportunities and his struggle to prove himself were perhaps the greatest challenges of his life. By 2025, when he was 77 years old, Christopher Ettridge lived a simple life, dividing his time between London and the countryside. His net worth was estimated at around $1.5 million, the well-earned result of decades of dedication to theater, television, and memorable supporting roles in Goodnight, Sweetheart, Hitler, The Rise of Evil, and Lady Macbeth. Elizabeth Carling as Phoebe Sparrow. Elizabeth Carling was born on October 20th, 1967 in Middlesbrough, England. When she was 30 years old, she won viewers' affection as Phoebe Sparrow in Goodnight, Sweetheart, taking over from Derva Cerwin in the show's 4th season. With her warm voice and strong presence, Elizabeth gave audiences a Phoebe who was both alluring and resilient, refreshing the emotional tone of the beloved series. Behind that gentle image, Elizabeth endured challenging years in her personal life. Born into a modest working-class family, her father was a factory worker at ICY and her mother a hospital receptionist. She learned the value of hard work and independence early on. Her youth wasn't just filled with studies, she also worked part-time in a clothing shop in Middlesbrough to help support the family. Few know that before falling in love with acting, she was a member of the duo Riyle, dreaming of a career in music before realizing her true passion lay in drama. In her private life, Elizabeth went through a deep 7-year relationship with actor Neil Morrissey. They met on the set of Boone, became engaged, and seemed headed for marriage. But the relationship ended, leaving her with loneliness and heartache at the height of her career. She later shared that this was a time when she lost confidence in herself, turning to poetry and painting to heal. Though she had no children of her own, she remained very close to her nieces and nephews, seeing caring for family as a key part of her life. She has often spoken of how art and poetry helped me hear my inner voice more clearly. After Goodnight, Sweetheart, Elizabeth continued to shine in Casualty, where she appeared in more than 100 episodes with deeply emotional performances. But that success couldn't erase the challenges she faced: fierce competition for leading roles in an industry that constantly sought fresh faces. Amid the rush of work and life, Elizabeth often felt exhausted from constantly traveling between London and her home region in the Northeast. By 2025, when she was 58 years old, Elizabeth Carling led a quiet life, still active in theater and independent projects, with an estimated net worth of about $3 million, the fruit of years of hard work in Goodnight, Sweetheart, Casualty, Vera, and her album of 1940s songs. Derva Cerwin as Phoebe Sparrow. Derva Cerwin was born on October 24, 1971, in Churchtown, Dublin, Ireland. When she was 21 years old, she made a powerful impression as Phoebe Sparrow in Goodnight, Sweetheart, a captivating Cockney woman, both strong and sensitive, who so convincingly played the part that few realized she was actually Irish. The role opened the door for Derva to become one of the most popular actresses in Britain and Ireland at the time. Born into an educated family, her father was an insurance broker and her mother a language teacher. Derva grew up in a home of discipline and high expectations. The youngest of 3 sisters, she showed early signs of being different, sensitive, artistic, and with a gift for mimicking voices. But her passion for acting came at a cost. When she was 16 and her career began to blossom, she was forced to leave Loreto Beaufort, a strict convent school, as the school deemed acting unsuitable for a Catholic girl. Behind the fame of Goodnight, Sweetheart and later Ballykissangel, Derva fought a long, private battle with bulimia. For 18 years, she lived with body image fears, struggling daily between career success and deep insecurity. She has admitted that the harsh scrutiny of the public and unrealistic expectations about appearance pushed her into this destructive cycle, leaving her isolated in her pain. Her love life was also filled with ups and downs. After a serious relationship and engagement to Stephen Tompkinson, her Ballycasangel co-star, the breakup left emotional scars just as she was battling work pressures. But fate brought Rupert Penry Jones into her life when they starred together in Dangerous Corner. They bonded on and off screen, married in 2007 after 4 years engaged, and built a family. Yet Derva openly acknowledges that being mother to Florence and Peter while pursuing demanding roles in shows like Doctor Who, Smother, and The Silence has been a journey filled with tears and challenges. Derva also experienced a mix of pride and sorrow when she discovered on Who Do You Think You Are that she was descended from Irish hero Michael Collins and from Henry Kahn, a Jewish immigrant who was wrongly convicted because of his faith and background. These revelations deepened her appreciation for her roots and inspired her to be more selective, focusing on roles with rich historical and human value. By 2025, when she was 54 years old, Derva Cerwin remained dedicated to her craft, balancing family and passion with an estimated net worth of around $4 million. Built from Ballycasangel, Ondine, Doctor Who, Smother, and acclaimed stage work in London's West End and the National Theatre. Emma Amos as Yvonne Sparrow. Emma Amos was born on August 18, 1964, in Newcastle-under-Lyme, Staffordshire, England. When she was 33 years old, she took on the role of Yvonne Sparrow in Goodnight, Sweetheart, replacing Michelle Holmes from the 4th season onwards. Under Emma's portrayal, Yvonne emerged as the image of a modern woman, smart, strong, and ambitious, a fascinating contrast to Gary Sparrow, her complicated husband. Emma also treasured the rare chance to act alongside her daughter Esme in an emotional scene, a moment she described as a special gift from her profession. Behind the stage lights, Emma's life has been one of responsibility and challenge. She married actor Jonathan Coy in 1998, building a home grounded in mutual understanding between two artists. Still, Emma has openly shared that raising their daughter Esme while maintaining an acting career was a journey filled with tears. In Esme's younger years, Emma often felt torn between film sets, the stage, and home life, struggling with exhaustion as she tried to be both a devoted mother and a dedicated actress. Emma's career also had quieter periods, especially after the memorable marks she left in Bridget Jones's Diary, 2001, and Vera Drake, 2004. In Bridget Jones's Diary, Emma played a sharp and friendly colleague of the main character, adding depth to the witty, satirical portrait of office life. Though it was a small role, she brought warmth and relatability to the character. In Vera Drake, Mike Leigh's haunting post-war drama, she played a working-class woman torn between traditional values and harsh realities, a performance that contributed to the film's powerful atmosphere. As leading screen roles became less frequent, Emma turned increasingly to the stage. In Sweet Bird of Youth, she portrayed Myra, a woman scarred by life but still longing for love, set against a backdrop of tragedy and lost youth. Theater became a refuge where she could fully live out her passion. By 2025, when she was 61 years old, Emma Amos continued to appear in television projects like Doctors and EastEnders, as well as in heartfelt stage productions. Her net worth was estimated at around $2 million, the result of years of perseverance in Goodnight, Sweetheart, Bridget Jones's Diary, Vera Drake, and theater. Michelle Holmes as Yvonne Sparrow. Michelle Holmes was born on January 1, 1967, in Rochdale, Lancashire, England. When she was 26 years old, she left a lasting impression as Yvonne Sparrow in Goodnight, Sweetheart, an intelligent, practical, and resilient Yvonne. Through Michelle's performance, Yvonne became a symbol of the modern woman of the 1990s, independent, sharp, but also deeply sensitive. As Gary's wife in the present day, Yvonne constantly struggled with feelings of loneliness and suspicion as her husband led a double life. Michelle skillfully infused the character with shades of hurt, strength, and fragile hope in marriage, creating someone audiences deeply connected with. Before that, Michelle drew attention with her role as Sue in Rita, Sue and Bob 2, 1987, a bold film that starkly portrayed working-class realities in Britain. As the young Sue caught up in a complex affair with a married man, Michelle captured both innocence and a yearning for freedom, only to be wounded in a web of emotional turmoil. This role launched her screen career, but also made it hard for her to escape the label of the rebellious girl. After leaving Goodnight, Sweetheart following 3 seasons, Michelle entered a period of professional uncertainty. She admitted that parting with Yvonne, a character so tied to her identity, left her struggling to find new footing. Although she continued with projects like Above Suspicion and Coronation Street, it took years for Michelle to be recognized as a versatile actress, not just Yvonne or Sue. The fierce competition of the industry even made her consider stepping back from the spotlight to rediscover herself. In her personal life, Michelle married Mark O'Hanlon in 2000, but the marriage ended in 2006. Since then, she has chosen a low-profile lifestyle, avoiding media attention to focus on family and close friends. While there are no reports of major personal tragedies or destructive habits, the ups and downs of her career and private life have shaped Michelle into someone serene, modest, and at peace. By 2025, when she was 58 years old, Michelle Holmes continued to appear in supporting roles on Coronation Street, Doctors, and various independent projects, living quietly in Manchester. Her net worth was estimated at around $1.5 million, the fruit of her perseverance in Rita, Sue, and Bob 2, Goodnight, Sweetheart, and many well-loved British TV shows. Which actor left the biggest impression on you? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting updates. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.